For who doesn't know me, my name is Matteo Vallone. I see many familiar faces. I work with European developers, and today I'm going to focus on engaging users. First, to start, can you raise your hand if you think that in the last 6 months you use every single app that is on your phone? All right, last month, last week, yeah, I thought that. These are very important questions. How many apps you have on your phone and how many you actually use regularly is the key question for engagement. And as a developer, what you should ask yourself is how many people have installed your app versus how many have actually used it. Installing an app, it doesn't do anything if the users actually don't use it. And you don't want to be just a book on a bookshelf, but you want to be the one that users actually read. So engagement is critical, and regardless of how you monetize your app, is through ads or through in-app purchases, you want to focus a lot on this key step of the user funnel. We talked about user acquisition. We're going to talk about conversion for developers that actually monetize through in-app payments. But in any case, engagement is going to be critical. And it's sometimes overlooked as a step in your product development. You have a big challenge, which is that users have many apps on their phones and on their devices, and not that much time to use all of them. And there are not a very clear list of levers that you can pull like you have for user acquisition, where you have store discoverability, cross-promotion, marketing, PR. On the conversion side, you can do discounts, promo codes, free trials. On the engagement side, when it comes to organic and free solutions, it's all about how you build your product and you optimize it for the key metrics that actually matter to you. It might be time spent, it might be articles read. Whatever matters to you should drive how you build your product and optimize it. And if there was only one key message that you could take away from this presentation, I wish it was this. You should move from just being from the model of just being a dumb destination to being a smart companion. Installing the app on the device shouldn't be just bookmarking it on the home page. That's a website. An app is smart, it's powerful, and it should be always available to the user when it matters. It should be integrated with the device. That's installing. And that means that you're not building just an homogeneous experience that everyone lands to it, but you're personalizing and you're aware of what is the context of the user so that you can anticipate their needs and not just reacting to them. Key concepts, and I'm going to talk about a few things you can do to make sure you really optimize your product to be a smart companion. So these are the key focus area that I'm going to talk about. They're all very relevant and work together. Integration through intents. If you don't know what intents are, I'll explain it soon. But that's a way to integrate your app in the operating system within the Android open platform. Capturing identity and context of your user, very important to then personalize and anticipate their needs. And using rich notifications as a way not just to communicate with your user, to reach out to your users, but actually as an extension of your UI into the device, into other devices as well. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about how this empowers you to actually build the best possible cross-platform user experience while you focus on the use case and then build the UI for it instead of doing the opposite, and being enabled by having all these three pieces in place. So I'll start by talking about intents. And first of all, if you have an Android phone, you already know what intents are. It's basically whenever you click on a link or on an action, sometimes you're presented with a few options of apps that can perform that action. And that's an intent. That's basically leveraging the power of intent on the phone. And an intent is basically a combination of an action and a piece of data, like scanning a barcode or sharing I love pizza. The powerful thing is that on Android, your app can take care of an intent. Like if you're building a scanner app, then scanning a barcode is what your app does. But also you can outsource tasks that are not really relevant to your app to other apps. So you can say you're building, for example, an e-commerce app, and you don't want to build a barcode scanner, but you need a barcode to be scanned at some point. And you can call the operating system at that point and say, what is the app that can do that for me? And whatever app is installed and is declaring the operating system that can perform that task will be presented to the user. So it's a very that's why we call intents basically the glue between application components, and what makes the Android operating system so open and enables apps to talk to each other. But that means also that you can take ownership of an action on the device across the experience of the user. So you can offer your service to other apps. In the previous example, if you're the barcode scanner app, you're offering every other app that needs that the service of doing that for them. In another example, if the user is on a news app and wants to share an article, if you're building a social and communication app, you can declare the operating system that you can handle that action, the sharing action, and your app will be automatically presented to the user here. These are not just Google apps. Any app can do it. Again, that's why Android is such an open platform. So that's another example. And another very powerful one is with URLs. You can tell the operating system, I can handle the intent of opening that and showing that URL. Here is what Maps does. That no matter if I'm looking for our office address on search, or if Shannon sent me a link, whenever I tap on that, I will be presented with all the apps that can perform that task. And in this case, Maps can do it for me, so I can skip the browser. So, and even more than that, if you think about it, app indexing, for who doesn't know what app indexing is basically a way to set up your app to show the option to the user within the search result, to open a link from the search results within the app. So it's basically the organic, non-paid solution of what Bruce described. And that's enabled by intents. Without intents, without setting yourself up for this task, you couldn't be able to leverage the power of app indexing. So if you are interested in this, you can look for more details on this website. OK, so that's intents. And that's how you intercept user needs as they present themselves. But you also want to know more about your users so you can anticipate their needs. And the set of information you should think about is not only the user preferences and the user history, but also what comes from the device they're using. Not only the screen of the device, which might inform what type of experience they're looking for, but also what time of the day it is, where they are, if they're moving fast, sitting down. Whatever is relevant to inform the way you can tailor the best possible experience. But in order to do that, you need them to sign in at some point. And the key thing here is that on mobile, it's even more painful than on laptops to sign in, because you don't have a keyboard. And a mobile device is supposed to be more immediate. It's supposed to be about the content soon and fast. So one very important thing to make sure that your user actually sign in and you can get all the information you need is to make it easy for them. And here, Guardian is a great example of integrating all the important third-party sign-in services and how this makes it more easy for users. And by the way, 41% of users sign in through the Google sign-in method, and that's a very common thing on Android. We see that a lot, Google being one, if not the most popular sign-in method. That's because every Android user is already signed in with a Google account on the device, on the Play Store, so they don't need to input any username, password. It just works, seamless. That's one thing, making it easy, but you shouldn't take it for granted. You should probably treat the identity, signing in as a transaction and the identity as a currency. Like you pay a lot of attention in converting users from free to paid users, you shouldn't take signing in for granted. They're basically entrusting you to use their personal information the right way and protect them. So you want to make sure that the onboarding experience is the best possible. and that you're leading them to the point where they're comfortable signing in and they understand the value. Again, The Guardian is a great example of that. You can browse all the content and read articles, but when you want to start personalizing the experience by liking, bookmarking, or sharing an article, then you need to sign in, and you understand that that's the step you have to take to do that. And in that situation, in that context, they also tell you more about why and the full value of signing in. You can be more aggressive than that. You can limit the experience to few content, few articles, few features, but you want to make sure that the user can enjoy your app before asking them to sign in. This is very, very important, especially as mobile becomes a user acquisition tool and not just an extension of whatever you offer on the web. OK, third point is rich notifications. Ellie already talked about this, and it's very clear that notifications are a very powerful tool on Android. Here you see an example of why. You have very rich content you can show to users already in the notification framework, text, picture, actions, very important. You can ask users to take actions outside the app. They can open your app without opening it. This is an extension of your UI into the operating system, into the device. And even more, you can customize that experience. Here is an example of the Play app, Play Music app, that allows you to control a song that is playing in the background through the notification. So very powerful, and with the introduction of Wear, it's even more powerful. Again, this concept of extending your UI into the operating system is even more powerful when there are more devices, and like Wear, where it's all about using a notification in a smart way. Here are good examples of what Facebook, Lyft, and Runtastic did. You can add also actions that are only relevant to Wear, but any notification will come for free on the Wear device. You can then optimize it and make it more relevant. But with great power comes great responsibility. You don't want to overdo. You don't want to scare users to become spammy, and that will mean that probably the user will turn notifications off, or even worse, uninstall the app. So here are some guidelines on how, first of all, when to show notifications and how to show them. The main thing is, again, back to identity and context. You want to capture the information that are relevant to build the best possible experience for your users. And this is very important: personal, time-sensitive, relevant to context. But also how you present them. I just wanted to highlight the last one: stack your notification. Key. 6 emails here in one notification, very nicely presented. If you have 6 notifications from the same app here, it very quickly becomes scary, and scared user will probably not be very engaged. So very important to pay attention to how you do it, because it's very powerful. And here I wanted to show you another example. Here is AnyDo using notification as an extension of their UI. They also do widgets, so the combination of both made them achieve a very important goal, so that 40% of their users don't actually open the app through the icon on the home screen, but through these extensions. So if you please.
Hey, I'm Omar. I'm the founder and CEO of AnyDo. AnyDo is the world's leading task management application for mobile devices. Our mission is to turn every day into a good day through creation of day-to-day, simple, beautiful, and fun life management applications. Creating an app is not just having an icon on the user's home screen. It's about creating engagement and getting the user to use your app from different parts of the OS. That's why we integrated our app deeply to the OS and created different ways for the user to interact with our app. In most cases, people think about opening an app just through the icon. But in AnyDo's case, we've deeply integrated into the OS in several ways. The first way was to integrate with widgets. In the widgets, you can actually see all of your tasks that you have planned for today, tomorrow, upcoming, and someday, but you can even mark them as complete. So just by clicking on one of the tasks, you can choose and you can mark them as complete. The second type of integration that we did in the active part was to actually, in the notification center, show all the tasks that you have planned for today, and you can easily scroll between everything you have planned or add a new task. We've seen that over 40% of our users open the app not through the icon, which means that the integration with the OS on the deepest level provides a lot more engagement than anything else. So to sum up, the Android platform allows us to do a lot of things in order to increase users' engagement. We've managed to create an experience in which the app is so deeply integrated to the device where the users feel as if it's part of the OS. This allows us to create a great user interface, a great experience, and a better usage from our users. Thank you, Android.
They were basically repeating exactly what I said, but better in 2 minutes instead of 30 minutes, using notifications to extend their UI and driving engagement. Again, very important impact. Now 40% of their users actually open the app not through the icon on the home page, but through this other means. They have a notification where you can look at your tasks and check them or add stuff, again, in the notification framework. So very powerful. To wrap up, I just wanted to talk about the cross-platform experience that is very important, and Elias talked about this a lot, how these things come into place when you think about your cross-platform experience. First of all, the important thing is that you shouldn't build your UI first and then adapting to the device. We're building an ecosystem that is so rich that will allow you to think at the use cases that are relevant to you, and then understand what devices support them and what are relevant to each use case. That is, if you have that approach, then you're in the best position possible to build the right UI for the right devices. But to do that, then you have to understand your users and integrate with each one of these devices. So it's very relevant. And a good example of this is Music Match. For who doesn't know, Music Match is a great app. It's a lyrics app. It lets you play songs that are on your device through their player, and it shows you sync lyrics. It also allows you to recognize a song with the microphone, and when the song is recognized, it will show you sync lyrics. And they thought about all the use cases that they could cover for that functionality and how those different devices apply to each use case. So now they are on phones and tablets, but also on TV through Chromecast and on Wear. And they have been very successful, but they wouldn't have been if they weren't already positioned to take advantage of all the key features that are available on Android to drive engagement. And all the things that we talk about are the things that they have done. And I'm not saying, they are a great example of driving engagement through these things. I'm not saying that just because they're Italian. I mean, they are, and that's very important. But I just wanted to show an example of how well they use notifications and the context-aware example, and also how intents is key here. So Play Music app here, a user is playing a song. They listen to an intent. Every music player sends an intent to the phone of what song is playing, and they listen to that. They recognize the song, and they send you a notification. Very personal, very context-aware. This is the song you're listening. I recognized it. If you tap on that, they open a widget that overlays the Play Music app, and shows you sync lyrics. You've opened the app without opening it. It's very relevant. It's context-aware. You install the app, and now allows you to do that even if you forgot about Music Match. Having done all of this, launched this feature, worked on all the key areas that we talk about, and being available now on all these platforms, since in the last few months, it's like 3 or 4 months, they saw 2 times more daily active users. And we're talking about millions of users here. And 4 times more streaming events, 2 times longer average session. So it really pays off to focus on these things. To wrap up, we talked about intents, how you integrate in the operating system, anticipating not anticipating, but actually intercepting their needs, and then how you can capture identity and context and leverage that to anticipate those needs, and use rich notification to extend your UI outside the app, and how this allows you to build the best possible cross-platform user experience. If you have questions, I will be around. You have my email. If you don't, this is my email. Send me emails. I will reply. Thank you.